Nile Delta, 13th century BCE. Dive deep into the heart of ancient Egypt, a civilization radiant in its grandeur. Envision a realm where vast golden pyramids pierce the clear blue skies and the mighty Nile's whispers tell tales of yore. Amid this backdrop, the Israelites, refugees from famine, carved out a refuge. Their narrative intertwines with Joseph, a dream interpreter turned savior, whose wisdom during the dire 7-year famine steered Egypt clear of devastation, elevating him to Pharaoh's right-hand man. As sands of time flowed, the Israelites, once famine-stricken wanderers, embedded themselves deep into Egyptian soil. Their communities, vibrant and bustling, spanned the delta's expanse, reflecting their unmatched spirit and resilience. From being fleeting guests, they became integral to Egypt's framework. Yet, this exponential growth, a testament to their vitality, was viewed through skeptical eyes. Admiration of yesteryears transformed, paving the way for whispers of unease among the native populace. Yet dynasties change and memories fade. A new pharaoh emerged, ignorant of Joseph's monumental contributions during Egypt's most vulnerable years. Overlooking sprawling Israelite settlements, a seed of suspicion sprouted within him. Thoughts raced. What if these Israelites in their newfound might ally with foes? This unsettling consideration began to erode the deep-seated trust and mutual respect that had been nurtured over countless generations. In his quest to assert dominance and curb the Israelites' burgeoning influence, Pharaoh hatched a sinister plan. The Israelites, who once walked with heads held high, were now subjected to a life of bondage. They were forced into back-breaking labor, constructing monuments and cities that would stand as a testament to Egypt's might, but at their expense. As days morphed into nights, the poignant memories of past freedoms became distant echoes, overshadowed by their grueling reality. Day after day, under the unforgiving Egyptian sun, the Israelite spirit was put to the test. Their once vibrant settlements, now hubs of forced labor, resonated with the sounds of sorrow and pain. Every brick laid and every towering structure that stood tall was also a silent witness to their indomitable spirit and enduring resilience. Yet, amidst this sea of desolation, glimmers of hope endured. Hushed conversations and secret gatherings kindled the flames of belief, a yearning that freedom's dawn was on the horizon. Amidst the architectural wonders of Ramesses, a tale of survival began. Moses, birthed during a perilous epic where Pharaoh's edict demanded the death of Hebrew male infants, was a beacon of hope. Ingeniously concealed in a basket, he floated along the Nile's rhythmic currents. By divine orchestration or sheer fate, Pharaoh's daughter was drawn to this basket. Unaware of his origins, she embraced him, ensuring that this Hebrew child grew up surrounded by the grandeur and teachings of Egyptian royalty, an irony that history would remember. As Moses matured within the palace's gilded walls, he was a man torn between two worlds. The lavish feasts and grandeur of his royal life stood in stark contrast to the suppressed memories of his true lineage. One day, a brutal scene unveiled before him. An Egyptian taskmaster viciously beating an Israelite slave. In a surge of rage and identity conflict, Moses retaliated, killing the Egyptian. This impulsive act was more than a personal confrontation. It was a clash of civilizations, setting Moses on a course away from his royal comfort. With his act of defiance now public knowledge, Moses became Egypt's most wanted. Abandoning the grandeur of Ramesses, he sought solace in the barren expanses of Midian's desert. The once prince, now in exile, embarked on a transformative journey. Here, among the nomadic tribes and against the backdrop of endless dunes, Moses would find his true calling, far from the trappings of royalty. The starkness of the Sinai desert was disrupted by an extraordinary sight, a bush engulfed in flames, yet undeterred in its essence. This wasn't any ordinary fire. It was the divine manifestation, the burning bush. God's voice resonated, turning this desolate land into holy ground. Moses was tasked with an overwhelming mission to challenge Pharaoh and secure his people's freedom. It was here that a shepherd was entrusted with the destiny of a nation. Overwhelmed, Moses grappled with doubt and the magnitude of his divine mission. However, God equipped him with miraculous signs and a steadfast purpose. The shepherd of Midian was to confront the might of Egypt. He was to return to the very place he had fled, standing up to Pharaoh's tyranny. A showdown was looming, setting the stage for one of history's most iconic struggles for freedom, intertwined with miracles and faith. In Egypt's sprawling royal court, Moses, transformed from prince to prophet, made his audacious demand before Pharaoh. "Let my people go." This wasn't merely a plea, it was a divine edict. However, the Pharaoh, with the weight of dynastic pride and bolstered by his realm's grandeur, responded with scoffing arrogance. His refusal was more than political. It was a clash of divinity against human pride, laying the groundwork for a cosmic confrontation between God's will and a king's stubbornness. The magnificent Nile, upon which Egypt's greatness was built, faced divine wrath. Its nurturing waters, which fed fields and quenched thirsts, gruesomely turned to blood. As aquatic life floated lifelessly, and the once blue river reddened, the very essence of Egypt's vitality was disrupted. This wasn't a mere spectacle. It was a calculated affront to Egypt's deities like Hapi, god of the Nile. The land, built on the river's blessings, now faced its curse. Yet, even with the Nile's desolation, Pharaoh's spirit wasn't broken. This steely resolve ushered a series of divine retaliations. Frogs swarmed homes, lice infested every corner, wild animals wreaked havoc, livestock fell to pestilence, and Egyptians high and low were tormented by painful boils. With each calamity, an Egyptian god's power was symbolically negated, emphasizing the unassailable dominion of the Hebrew god. Darkness, dense and palpable, then consumed Egypt. A void where even shared warmth seemed stolen for 3 interminable days. But the impending horror of the 10th plague was unmatched, the death of all firstborns. This wasn't random. It was a direct affront to Pharaoh, deemed divine and a firstborn himself, and a challenge to the future of his dynasty. Morning broke, but it wasn't the light that awakened Egypt. It was heart-rending wails of despair. Grief knew no class, from the gold-embellished palace where Pharaoh's own offspring lay lifeless, to the modest mud-brick homes of commoners. The cumulative sorrow of 10 divine judgments shattered the Pharaoh's resolve. Relenting under divine pressure and national grief, he finally granted the Israelites their long-denied freedom. As the first light painted the Egyptian horizon, the Israelites, with the heavy memory of servitude, began their exodus. For centuries they had dreamt of this moment, and now it was a reality. With hastily packed belongings and bolstered by the borrowed wealth of their neighbors, they journeyed forth. While the exact path they took remains a subject of scholarly intrigue, one thing was certain: the atmosphere pulsated with hope, promise, and the sweet allure of freedom. But the road ahead, unbeknownst to them, would challenge their very spirit and faith. But as the Israelites tasted freedom, Pharaoh's sorrow turned to fury. "Have we let Israel go from serving us?" he agonized. Not one to admit defeat, he rallied his elite chariot force, the pride of Egyptian military might. Determined to reverse his decision, Pharaoh set his eyes on recapturing the Israelites. Their newly found hope was threatened as the distant swirling dust signaled the ominous approach of Egypt's relentless army. An opposing natural barrier, the Red Sea, lay ahead, while behind, the relentless Egyptian chariots closed in. Panic spread among the Israelites with murmurs of regret. But Moses, their unyielding leader, declared, "Fear not, stand firm, and witness the Lord's salvation." Then, in an unparalleled display of divine might, Moses, with outstretched arm, commanded the sea. To the collective astonishment of the Israelites, waters drew back, erecting towering, shimmering walls on either side. between these walls lay a path of dry ground, a miraculous escape route. With a mix of awe and urgency, they ventured between the walls of water, nature's laws defied for their salvation. But hubris drove Pharaoh's army forward. They charged into this divine passageway, eyes set on their quarry. Yet, as the final Israelites set foot on the other side, and Moses gestured once again, the suspended walls of water came crashing down, sealing the fate of Egypt's finest. The sea, once a barrier, now became an instrument of divine justice. On the opposite shore, the Israelites, their oppressors vanquished, erupted in exuberant songs celebrating freedom and divine intervention. As their footsteps faded in the vast desert, the Israelites found themselves at the foot of a formidable mountain, Mount Sinai. Throughout history, the exact location of this mountain has been debated by theologians and archaeologists alike. Was it in modern-day Egypt, Saudi Arabia, or perhaps another location entirely? Regardless of its geographical coordinates, its spiritual significance was unparalleled. As the Israelites made camp beneath its shadow, an electric sense of expectation hung in the air, thick as the looming clouds above. Moses, who had once been a prince and then a fugitive, now took on the mantle of prophet and mediator. With every step he took up Sinai's slopes, he moved closer to an experience few could fathom, a direct discourse with the divine. God's voice, resounding with authority and purpose, began to impart teachings. These were not mere suggestions. They were cornerstones destined to shape the very fabric of a new nation's ethos and worldview. With a weight both literal and symbolic, Moses descended with stone tablets. Inscribed upon them were 10 edicts, foundations for societal and spiritual cohesion. The 10 Commandments, as they came to be known, addressed matters of devotion, respect, and human conduct. While some saw them as divine mandates, others perceived their deeper implication, a holistic blueprint for human prosperity and peace. The universality of these edicts would influence countless legal systems and moral doctrines across subsequent civilizations. Beneath the watchful gaze of Sinai, an unparalleled agreement was etched into history. The Israelites, by accepting these commandments, were willingly entering into a covenant. They weren't just agreeing to rules, they were being anointed as a chosen people, singular in God's vast creation. This wasn't a one-sided contract. In adhering to this divine moral code, they were promised divine oversight, protection, and favor, a symbiotic bond of faith and duty. But Sinai wasn't only a moment in time. It was an epical event that rippled through millennia. The covenant made, there laid the foundation for 3 of the world's major religions: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Even today, its influence is palpable, be it in houses of worship, legal courts, or philosophical debates. Sinai's legacy serves as a reminder of humanity's potential for righteousness and the profound connections we can cultivate with the divine.